The Kid Carson Show on the Beat 94.5.
All right, good morning, 8:44. If your financial planner is a blackjack dealer, you may want to perk up and listen to this for a couple minutes.
You have some issues.
Or if you think an RSP is something that you respond to on an Evite, maybe not.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you need to listen to this as well.
It isn't? Oh.
It's RSVP. RSP.
okay,
Yeah,
sorry,
RSP
guys.
is something. I RSP'd. I'll be there. What do you... I love how I explain my joke to Mandy.
It takes a little while.
And to be honest, off the air, Mandy was like, actually, I'm really excited that Desiree's coming in because I really don't know any of this stuff.
I don't know
I
anything.
have no
So,
idea.
Nope.
so Mandy, jump in and ask any dumb-ish question.
Okay.
Because there's someone thinking the same thing. Don't feel
Okay.
bad. And this
Thank you.
This is a great reminder for a lot of people. We're talking about grabbing and I guess grabbing and
Taking a
squeezing,
hold,
taking a
yes.
hold of your financial destiny. We have in studio Desiree Dupuis, who's the founding partner of 360 Financial Group. And you came highly recommended by another guest we've had on the show a couple times, Christopher Flett.
Yes.
Chris Flett, I guess the CEO of Ghost CEO, who's a great guy who works behind the scenes with women and helping women in business really kind of jump into that seemingly male-dominated world. But to kick things off, Desiree, women are now becoming more and more financially savvy. This is a trend over the last couple of years. Would you say that's true?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, more and more women, especially getting into the real estate market. My business partner has just bought her second place.
Wow.
And it just shows how many more women are really starting to zip up their purse and take control of their finances. So
Yeah.
I'm super excited to be here and talk about that today.
Cool. Well, thank you for coming in.
Okay, now, there's a lot of people are in situations where, the guy kind of, if they're in a marriage, the guy, everything's in his name and he takes control of most of that stuff. And maybe that's a little bit old school, but it still happens a lot. Like even with my grandparents, like my Nana doesn't really know anything, but my Papa has done everything their whole lives. You know, they've been married for God knows how long.
Yeah.
So now, is that a dangerous situation to be in?
Oh my gosh, it's so
Yeah.
scary. You cannot rely on anybody else for your financial destiny because nowadays, the divorce rate is, I think, over 50%. And a statistic I wanted to share with you guys is that 9 out of 10 women will outlive their male partner. And the average age of widowhood is 56 years old. Yeah.
Wow,
Really?
That's
So
so
young.
young.
Yeah. So it's even more important for women to start now taking control of their finances so that they know no matter what happens in their life to all the people around them, that they're completely in charge of what happens to them.
'Cause
Okay, you don't
will-
want to be faced with that. I mean, if something happens to your husband, God forbid, and then you have to deal with that, plus all of this added stress about dealing with the finances.
Yeah, it's shocking.
I think 56, you'd have you'd hope at least 30 years to
You'd
go.
hope,
I mean, that's a
for
long
sure.
time to be living
Absolutely.
in a time where you're not working.
Exactly. Right when you're heading into retirement, so that's why things like insurance are super important.
Yeah.
And making sure you have your retirement savings planned out right now because time is of the essence, right? It's the magic of compound interest. So
So you get, the earlier you start, the better.
absolutely.
Real quick,
Okay.
before I jump into my first question, which will be, if you are a complete idiot with this stuff, and not to use that as a negative thing, it's just like if you just don't know and someone else has done this for you, or you're just thinking, okay, you know what, this is my year to really kind of get a hold of that. I want to ask you where to start. But first, can you tell us a little bit about what 360 is? I mean, that's the company you represent, just to get a feel for your background.
Sure.
Yeah.
It's my company with my best friend, actually. The two of us are partners, and we founded 360 Financial Group, which is, for everybody listening, it's spelled out in letters, so it's 360 phonetically spelled. And we are brokers, so we're completely independent, and we work with all the different financial agencies out there. And so that means that we work for our clients. So we're not trying to sell them any products. We're just really trying to focus on their own situation and help them what they need, because everybody's different. And everybody has a little bit of fear or embarrassment because it's not something that we're taught in school. It's something that we have to learn. We usually learn from our parents, and if our parents aren't financially savvy, then we don't learn.
Yeah.
And so it's okay to not know. Like, that's what the professional is there for. And most professionals offer, we offer free advice. We offer workshops. You can go to our website. I've uploaded 2 downloads just for your guys as listeners
I
today.
saw that last night, yeah.
Yeah, so something to get you started. It's the top 10 tips to get you started. But the number one question we get is how to get started and when should I get started? And for sure, start with a professional financial planner.
Get someone who
Yeah.
actually... It's funny that school is so focused on getting you a job. But and everyone wants to focus on getting that great career so they can make that great money, and that's what schooling seems to be all about. We go in debt, extreme debt, so that we can get the job that pays the money. But we're never taught, unless we seek the information on our own, what to do once you get that big paying job.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you're not supposed to know. I mean, I look at it as kind of like your accountant. You know, we don't know the tax laws. We don't know what the CRA requires. So we look at our accountant to be the professional to know all that stuff. Just the way that financial advisors are the professional that know all that stuff, and they'll help guide you. And you can do research. Of course, you should do research and get yourself empowered and educated. But that's what a professional is there to help you with.
Yeah.
And most people don't realize that, and they think it takes a lot of money to get started, or that it's costly. And it's not true. Most financial planners will work for you for free, you know, and get you to start investing, to get managing your spending. Women have been conditioned to spend. You know, where we shop, and we're responsible for 90% of household purchases, but no one has really taught us to save and how to learn to invest, and how, like I mentioned earlier, the magic of compound interest, where your money, it can be making money and on top of money for you, and then all of a sudden you don't even have to work anymore because your money is working for you. So
and that's where you want to be.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's say there's a woman driving to work or somewhere right now in her car, and she's listening, and she's thinking, God, I have not even taken the first step. I have no idea. I don't even know who to call. I don't really have any money saved. I'm kind of going, you know, paycheck to paycheck. What would be the first thing that woman would do?
Well, the first thing she needs to know is that she's not alone. Over half women in Vancouver feel that way and worry about their financial situation, are living paycheck to paycheck, and don't really have any savings for the future. And so that's the first thing she needs to know, not to be embarrassed about that. And then the second thing is to start talking about it. I really want women and men too to start talking about money and finance like we do about food. You know, we talk about what we ate last night. We talk about what we're going to eat today. Nobody talks about money though, and it's so important.
It's like taboo though. It's kind of like,
Yes.
you know,
it's our life though. Like money enables you to live the life that you want. If you want to go on holiday, if you want to take time off, if you want to raise your kids, that money allows you to do that, right?
It's crazy. There's so much ego attached to money and self-worth attached to money. Like people attach their self-esteem to what they make sometimes, and that's crazy to do that. But so we don't want to talk to our friends because we feel like, oh, well, you make more than me, I make more than you. It's weird. So,
no, but everybody is kind of in the same boat. And the worst part about it is the whole keeping up with the Joneses thing, where people are getting into more and more debt because they think that their friend is doing so well because they have a new car and they have a new house and they have designer clothes all the time, but they don't know what their credit card debt is, right?
Yeah.
So it's important to have an open relationship with your friends regarding your money. And what I was going to say is then, like, you can go to our website. We're happy to meet with new clients. We're building our business. We're going to be taking on new advisors. So for sure, come to our website, send us an email, send us a message, let us know how we can help you. Or if you have close friends that you know they work with a financial advisor, the most important thing is find somebody that you trust, because it's your money.
Yeah.
And there's been a lot of crap.
How do you know who to trust?
I mean, your gut for sure, but look at their credentials. A certified financial planner is best. Ask them what they do for themselves. You know, what their experience has been. What has their experience been for their clients? If they do invest their money, what are they investing it in? And if they say, you know, mutual funds or segregated funds or real estate or a MIC or whatever these acronyms, maybe go and Google it and find out, right? And make sure that the person you're working with really knows what they're talking about.
Because that can be intimidating if you really don't know anything about this stuff, to then suddenly quiz the person that you're asking for help. Well, what are your credentials? Like, I don't know anything, but what do you know?
No, you have to. If you were going to go get heart surgery, wouldn't you make sure that the doctor you're working with was credible and had done successful heart surgeries in the past? Well, if you're handing your money over to somebody, if you're opening up your financial situation or your financial destiny to somebody, you have all the right in the world to make sure that that person that's working for you is working for you, and that you trust them. And do not be afraid, especially for women, because it's very intimidating and it has been a male-dominated industry. And that's why women have shied away from it, because for the most part it's been, you know, maybe like a 50-year-old man that they've met with that talks over their head and just really doesn't provide them with education. Yeah. So
hey, you're really young.
I'm 31.
Yeah. Oh, wow. You are. Yeah. Well, you look like you're like 22.
Yeah.
So, that's a good thing, by the way.
Yeah, I think that women would not be intimidated coming in to talk to you.
You seem like a very relaxed person to go sit down. Yeah, like you said, it's not the typical 50-year-old man who's wearing a tie and he's very like, oh, and
Well, it should be fun. Like I said, it's your life, it's your money. It's kind of like your baby until you have. And even when you have babies, it's still your baby. And my business partner Kelly looks even younger than me, so and she's even less intimidating. She's She's like 5'2" and 90 pounds. So this is
great. So you go, you meet a financial expert or an advisor, And then what are the couple of key things? I know you're going to plug on your website again a whole list of things you can do.
Yes.
But what are a couple key things that women should be looking for?
Okay, you think about it as a roadmap. So you need to know exactly where you are. So get real clear. Don't be in denial. You know, how much debt do you have? And usually what we do is do a spending experiment for about a month. Kind of like if you're trying to lose weight, your trainer will say, okay, what are you eating every day?
Yeah, like
same
a food
thing.
diary.
Yeah,
Money
a money
type of
diary.
thing?
So
Okay.
you want to know exactly where your money is going, where you're spending it on. You want to get real clear on how much you earn, how much you're spending, and how much you're putting away. And then you need a destination. So if you want to retire in 20 years, if you want to get married next year, if you want to buy a house, like you need to know where you're going, and you need a strict plan to help you get to that destination. And what financial planners do, we have special calculations which allow us to know if you need $50,000 in 5 years, you're going to need to invest so much per month and earn a certain interest rate to get you to that point. You know, it's not just like, woo, let's throw things up in the air and hope that we end up at the right place, right?
And it's amazing when you start doing something like that, where you're putting a little bit aside.
Yes.
It's amazing. And for people now who have never done it before, and you're just going to be inspired maybe this week to start it, the peace of mind that you have knowing, okay, I'm at least, even if I didn't really accomplish much today or this week, my money's doing something. It's doing. You at least feel like you're moving forward in some kind of a small way. You know what I mean?
That's the biggest thing. Once you put it away, you put it away. You don't think about it, and it's doing its magic thing in the background, and it's growing. And you just gotta, even if it's $50 a month, up to 1,000, 2,000, 5,000, whatever you can afford. Put it away, because you'll be astonished by how it starts to grow, and then how you can, enable yourself to live your life and to start reaching those goals. Because that's the biggest thing. You need a roadmap. You can't, if you're going to Timbuktu, you're not going to be like, oh, I'm just going to head out on Highway 1 and hopefully I make it there.
Yeah, okay. You need to know where you're going.
You're going to
Absolutely.
you're going to Google the instructions. You're going to see what the shortest way is, what the best way is, if there's traffic over here or construction over here, right? So,
and there's so many different products out there, like we were talking off the air, RSPs, mutual fund stocks. I mean, so you can help somebody determine what the best, which the best way to go is,
yes.
right?
It comes down to your risk level, obviously, because there's always risk when you're investing money. And for young people especially, that's why it's so important to start now, because you can take on more risk because you have a lot more time for the bumps in the market. And it's not just stocks or bonds or whatever the traditional investments you might think of, but getting involved in real estate, leveraging your accounts that way, or getting involved with land investment companies or stuff like that. But, and of course, the older you are, the less risk you have to take, because you only have maybe 5 or 10 or 15 years.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's why it's important for you to meet with a professional, because they can look at your situation and put you in whatever is most compatible with where you want to go and with your risk level right now.
I think maybe the biggest thing that we all have in common, everyone listening right now, being that it is, the second week of January, is debt. What is your professional strategy for conquering debt? Let's say you have maybe a line of credit's got some cash on there. You got maybe a Visa or maybe a couple of credit cards. How do you attack that to get that down so that you can start, okay, now I've got that out of the way, I can start putting money away?
First of all, you want to consolidate as best as you can. So if you have a line of credit, talk to your bank about lowering your interest rate, and maybe use your line of credit to pay off your credit card balances, because most likely your credit card balance is like up to the 20%, whereas your line of credit could be less than 10. And then we use an effect called the snowball effect. So what you want to do is allocate the most amount of money you can to your smallest balance, because it's more a behavioral type thing, emotional type thing. Once you see that small balance going down and getting rid of, now that one's gone, so you have much more relief and you're kind of more motivated and determined. And then you take the money that you're allocating to that debt and you put it towards the next smallest one. And you get the snowball going that way, right? And of course, if you've got, you want to start to pay off the highest interest rate account first, but look at consolidation and then look at getting rid of the smaller ones so that you can allocate those minimum payments to the next one.
Because that's a sense of accomplishment too, right? I mean, you've paid something off. Okay, now we're getting somewhere. Now on to the next thing, and you're focused, and then you're going to stick with it.
Exactly. It's like the whole losing weight battle too, right? Like once you've lost a couple of pounds, you're like, sweet, yeah, I want to eat healthy. I want to work out. So it's the same feeling with your finances. Once you see yourself doing well you get re-energized, and then maybe you're not tempted to buy Us Weekly at the checkout with the gum and all that kind of stuff, right? Because you start to get on track, and it feels good, and it's exciting. Money should be exciting. Your financial situation should be exciting. For most people, unfortunately, it's not. Because
it's so confusing, I think, for most people that, once you do get something going, it is exciting. It's like, oh, relief. Like, oh, okay, finally I've got something going on here.
Yeah.
But it's amazing how many people carry credit card balances and have an empty line of credit maybe.
Yes.
So like if your credit card is like a 20% interest rate and you've got a line of credit that's 9%, well, pay off the credit card with the line of credit and then start attacking the line of credit.
Yes.
Is what you're saying. Okay.
Yeah, and that's a no-brainer, and that's something that a financial planner will easily tell you to do, and bingo, you're saving, a couple $100s a month maybe on interest that you could be paying.
What if you are a woman and you're married and your husband is kind of doing their own thing? How many women are coming to you and saying, okay, I still want to do my own thing on the side, like my own kind of, is that common?
Yeah, that's responsible. I mean, a lot of people nowadays you see marriages where women aren't taking the guy's last name, and at the same note, they're also, keeping separate checking account. I think it's important to have an open conversation with your partner, and so that there's nothing being hidden. Like if he's got, 20 grand building up on the side that you don't know anything about, I don't think that that's right. But
is that wrong? Is that wrong?
Well, I think that it's not right. I mean, unless you're completely separate, but normally in a partnership, you do things together, especially if you're planning a life together. I don't think anything should be hidden, and everything should be out in the open. But for sure, and especially if you're having kids, one person might be making more than the other. So
now, what about this? What about this? Okay, you're married. You're a woman. You've got your own career.
Yeah.
You're married. You guys have kind of everything together. You're investing in the future together. Now, would you say, as a woman, knowing what the divorce rate is, should you have your own separate account that you don't tell your husband about? If for a rainy day, should you have 15, 20 grand, 30 grand, whatever you can do over the case this dude goes out, starts screwing some little, 22-year-old bimbo, and then you're stuck, and now...
Sounds like Hollywood.
I don't necessarily think that, like I said, I don't necessarily think that you need to have hidden separate accounts, but I think that what's important is that as women, we get empowered. So you know what's going on in the financial situation. So you know if your guy left you today that where you're at and that you're going to be okay. And maybe there might be some mess in the middle splitting things up. Because hopefully that's not going to happen, obviously, right? It's an unexpected event. So
you've got a treasure chest of gold bars buried somewhere. Don't you lie to me.
I don't think it's healthy to be in a relationship and have hidden accounts or hidden anything.
No, the main thing that I think you're trying to say is that you should be in the conversation together so that and you're making decisions together as well for your future, right?
Exactly.
So where's your money going? How are we going to get the retirement savings? It's nice to have those conversations together.
Yeah.
And the most important thing is that he's not taking control of anything. So if he walks away, you're like, uh-oh, I'm up.
You don't even know what to ask.
Yeah, that was my mom.
Yeah. Interesting. And too many women are doing that. Or maybe that was kind of the way it was originally set out with, the men typically worked and the woman stayed home. And then as decades have gone on, now women, you're saying, are coming around and saying, okay, it's my turn to step up and have a little more control and power and ultimately get my own thing going.
That's the way the movement has been shifting, right? Women still, on average, only make 75% of a man's salary, which we've come a long way. I mean, it used to only be like, we weren't even working at all. And then it was about 20 years ago, it was like about 60, 62%. So we're getting there, but that's why it's even more important for us to take control because we're still making less than men do.
I still find that crazy.
Yeah.
I still find, if you're doing the identical job, the man gets paid more.
On average, men get paid, 25% more.
Wow.
Brutal.
Wow.
Yeah, that's what stats.
What about ugly people and good-looking people? That's a whole different interview. Yeah, we'll do that one tomorrow. Okay. I gotta tell you, it's been great having you in.
Yeah.
I know you put together a special PDF file that's on your website for listeners to download. It's like 10 tips.
Yes, 10 tips to get started right away. But the number one thing I didn't even put on this list is seek out an advisor, talk to your friends, figure out who they're working with, find someone you trust, absolutely, and then get on here, find out where you are right now, find out where you want to go, get real clear on those things, stop using credit cards, start using cash, make sure you have the right insurance in place. All those things are on there. So go to the website, download that, and there's also a budget workbook on the website that I put on there for you guys. So
Okay.
People can start to see where they're spending their money and really put a budget together so that every month they're spending the same amount and they know exactly how much they're allocating to their savings, to their retirement accounts or whatever.
And then you know what your spending money is.
Exactly.
And it's more fun to buy because you feel good about it. I'm not dipping into money I should be saving
Yeah.
in.
Yes.
Awesome. So check out the website 360fg.ca. I'll tweet that for you. I know you're on
Yeah.
Twitter too. I saw you
Yeah.
tweeting yesterday. I'm going to be on the show tomorrow. Yay!
Yeah,
360 Financial Group.
And it's 360 in letters, like I said, THREESIXTY. Just
Okay.
so everyone knows.
If you hit up thebeat.com, you can find my latest tweet. I'll put it up in a second here, and you can look up Desiree Dupuis.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming in. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Get that money right into an RSVP, okay?
It's there.
Come